Hey guys, JJ back here. This time I want to chat on sports betting touts and handicappers. And really, is there a difference? Quite an interesting topic. One I've been looking forward to. It's definitely a video I've, believe it or not, been looking forward to doing for you guys. And I'm going to go through things you'll see every day, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, maybe even here on YouTube, along with other social media platforms as well. Now, before I go into the specifics on touts and handicappers and some differences. I'd like to paint a scenario for you, and I want you to think if you've been in this situation before, truthfully. You find out about sports betting, maybe you've been doing it recreationally, whatever, and for you it's love at first sight, right? You love the rush you get from betting it. It's like no other, and you find yourself winning in the beginning. Now, um, after some time, the losses come, and that's of course inevitable, but you start realizing that they're coming in bunches and you really can't figure out why. This was so easy for you in the beginning. The wins were rolling in. You weren't struggling at all, and now you've really hit a wall. So you start to look on social media, maybe you start to chat with some friends. Hey, do you know anybody that's good at this sports betting thing? I love it, but I'm just not winning. So you go on social media and you start finding that there's this aquarium of fish, selling picks and offering free services, all that jazz. Now, maybe in your searches is how you found this channel in the first place, which is great. You're in the right place. I can promise you. Um, you know, Either way, you go through social media and you find these guys with a tremendous amount of eye candy on their page. Maybe it's some screenshots of them winning some big money with some big bet slips. Maybe it's a high winning percentage. Maybe it's the chest pounding tweets with all the gifs. Maybe it's as simple as they post a record and it just looks really good. Um, and you really see next to nothing about their losses. So you're starting to think, wow, this guy really must be the real deal, or this girl must really be the real deal. So you take the bait and you begin following these picks, borderline blindly. You start realizing, hey, look, wow, even these picks are winning, right? Then after a few weeks of success, this individual who's promoting themselves puts up that classic paywall, right? Where now they start charging for picks. Now, because maybe they've made you some money, maybe you've been accustomed to winning, so you feel obligated to pay this individual for picks with no real guarantee that you'll get your money back. There's no, a clause about how they might lose. There's more or less, this individual is guaranteeing you victories, and all of a sudden the losses start rolling in heavy, and you're getting told now to double up or triple up or quadruple down on your bets. Hey, look, I got my 5 unit play. It'll get us out of a hole. My 10 unit play, this is my play of the month. Hey, spoke to my guy. Here's another big play. And all of a sudden, again, these guarantees start being made as bailout picks for you to put you out from a loss into a win. And as you start to question this individual's process, which, by the way, you should have been doing from the beginning, you find yourself all of a sudden now blocked on social media by this person. Now, you've already paid them, and they've lost you more money, and now they've blocked you, so now you can't even really communicate with them anymore. This is something you're going to see often in this industry, and that is more or less, it's an exaggerated example, but that's more or less a tout, okay? And it's a shame that there's so many people like that. And I'm not saying that every person you're going to find in this industry is bad, or everyone in this industry is trying to sell you something, because it's not true. There are needles in the haystack here, but you got to know what to look for. Many will tell you it's obvious. Never pay for picks, never pay anybody for picks. And you see there, I subtly, or at least I slightly disagree. I think in almost all scenarios, you shouldn't be paying anybody for picks. It increases your percentage that you need to win at. Because again, you're paying, we'll call it extra vig to this person you're selling picks for. But if you're somebody who's been a consistent loser betting sports, in whatever sport it is, whatever, losing multiple bets per month, you don't do the research, you work a 9 to 5, you have a family, kids, and you just want to be in sharp action nightly. The kids go to sleep, the wife goes to sleep, whatever. You just want to be watching a late night game, want to get that little bit of rush, and you just want to feel like you're on the sharp side. So to that individual, I don't mind the idea of paying someone else for picks, but you need to make sure that person is sound. Either figure out what their process is, or someone maybe you truly trust. Don't be just blindly giving money to people without true accreditation behind it. I can't stress enough how careful you need to be during that selection process. So careful, because you can't be just paying anybody money blindly, because again, nearly everybody in this industry does not have your best interest in mind. They have their own, and they're just looking for their next dollar. So I'm going to go through some things that I consider to be from touts and from handicappers, maybe some subtle differences between the two of them, and what you really need to be looking for. Now, I'll start with what I consider a tout, and I understand that's plenty subjective, but I've been around the block a few times, and I've practically seen it all. Touts, for one thing, will typically always be selling themselves. Okay, so this is definitely something to look for. You'll constantly see and hear from them about how good they are, how they haven't lost, how they haven't had a losing day in weeks or months. Just in case, and these posts and tweets and comments will be constant. Okay, just in case you forgot in the last hour how good they were, they'll be sure to remind you. Every winning bet will include the chest pounding. Every loss will result in either silence, where you don't even hear about it, it's not even addressed, or you'll see the excuses about how they got fucked over and how they can't catch a break. Now, a tout will also show you a tremendous winning percentage and will tell you how much money they often win. Rarely do screenshots follow, so you're forced to typically either believe them at face value or just assume, the other end of the spectrum, that they're in their parents' basement just typing away on social media, giving away free nonsense information. A tout will start doubling and tripling down during losing streaks as a chase method. This will prove the individual has no care for your bankroll, maybe even their own bankroll. He or she only cares about the net wins and what they can do to get themselves in the positive, and will burn bridges to get there. They'll do nearly anything to get themselves in the positive, chasing with parlays and large unit bets. A tout is a true gambler by nature. They will be a roller coaster to deal with publicly and personally. Acting professional is really not in these people's nature. They are looking to ride their hot streak to some money from others to pay for their picks. Now, a tout will also not be getting the best numbers. Most touts don't even understand the idea of favorable numbers. They will bet teams and have no care for the pricing or numbers that they are getting. They will also make some of their posts last minute, like 15 or 30 minutes before the start of games, telling you how much now all of a sudden they like a play. Like, you mean to tell me a game has been posted for over 24 hours and 15 minutes before the game starts, they realized, guys, this is now a good play. No. These are just more people just potentially chasing losses, maybe trying to play with what they call house money, which isn't even a thing, by the way. You either have more money in your sports book or you don't. There's no such thing as house money. It's your money. Now, that should be an immediate red flag for you. If you see somebody that's posting a bunch of their games 30 minutes before tip or 30 minutes before the game starts, first pitch, whatever, definite red flag. Guys who do this the right way get their research in the night before. They do, and not only that, the research is in the night before, and they know what they're looking for. They're not chasing steam. If a line moves heavy in one direction, if anything, they're fading it, because all of a sudden now that opened up a favorable number on the opposite end. Okay, you're not chasing good solid handicappers aren't chasing lines 20 minutes before a game starts just to be in action. A tout also thinks they are much better than they are. I say this all the time about how humbling this industry can be. And yet, day after day, I see these new pop-up touts think they're the shit because they won six of 7, or they have an algorithm that spit out like 5 straight winners. It's like, give me a break. I mean, dedicate time. This is a humbling industry, and it takes a lot of research and a lot of time put in to find success. It's not something that you snap your fingers and you're successful. Now, you could be in a short sample size, and this is what most of these touts are. But long term, I mean, process matters, and to touts, process more or less isn't even really a thing. A tout will adjust his win-loss record as he sees fit to benefit him, and he or she will spit out more than 5 plays per day, sometimes even in various sports. Riddle me this: how can one individual give out more than one game in more than one sport on a given night? How does such a person find the time to diligently find favorable numbers in multiple sports, in multiple games, in the same day? It's just not possible. Now, you might have somebody who religiously does 2 sports. To me, I'm okay with that. Okay, if all year you religiously do 2 sports, maybe it's college football and hockey. Okay, maybe it's soccer. Maybe it's a certain division of soccer and NFL. Maybe it's college basketball and women's tennis. Maybe it's baseball and hockey. But what I'm getting at is you can't scatter it all around with the sports. You either watch a lot of the games you're betting on, or you're just box score hunting, which box score hunting isn't going to get you all that far. This is not a numbers games completely, folks. Use numbers to guide you in the right direction. Do not religiously follow numbers. Now, I went off a little on a tangent there, but keep in mind that there's no reason you should be following somebody who's giving out more than 5 plays per day. Okay, you're paying so much juice daily, it's crazy. You need to be finding favorable spots, limiting your plays. Again, good true handicappers know this. Don't be following that type of steam. Now, I ask you this as the viewer of this video. When you see a new tout, or we'll call it a handicapper for the first time, I see this all the time. When new people follow, new touts, or a new person follows a current tout or whatever, they always ask them, hey, what's your current record? Or, what's your win-loss in your last 10? What's your win-loss in your last 20? What's your win-loss in your last 30? What does that matter to you? I mean, what does that even matter? If you asked me, hey, wow, what's your win-loss record for your last 50? And I told you I'm 40-10 in my last 50. And here's the data to prove it. You might be like, wow, you're so good. How can I pay for your picture? How can I pay for your services? But you didn't ask me the questions that mattered. What's my process like? What's my bankroll management? What's my play discipline? Am I getting plus EV numbers? Do I have backlog results? What's my composure like when I'm losing? Am I humble when I'm winning? These are the things that matter. If you're going to pay somebody for picks, or if you're going to begin to really trust someone in this industry, that's what matters. Not their record over their last 30 games, or the last 50 games, or their last month. That stuff doesn't matter. And plus, that didn't make you specifically any money. You're a new person to this individual. You're looking at the picture like, oh, wow, I really like this guy. What's your win-loss record? What if that person told you they were 20 games under 500? What if I told you I'm 20 games under 500? But here's been my process. And before this, the process has worked for years. I'm in the middle of tweaking it. I'm going through some rough bits. But I know this is successful. And I know my access to the grind. And I know I will get us in the positive. I'd rather hear that from an individual than hear that they're 40-10 and they have no losses in sight. They are just steamrolling wins. To me, the arrogance in this industry is wild, and people just eat it up. And I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it. In an industry that is so humbling, there are still so many arrogant pricks in here. Now, again, I'm not sitting here calling people out specifically. I'm not in the business of wanting to point the finger at anybody. I get the whole idea of there's honor amongst thieves. I'm not going to give out any names of anybody or anything. That's not what I'm doing this for. But at the end of the day, the transparency that I try to give you with this channel is that exists, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it from various people, and it's just the wrong way to go about it. And I just want to make sure you guys know what to look for when you're asking questions for new people you're following, new handicappers. The process matters, okay? It matters a lot more than the recent results. Don't fool yourself there. Okay, so now the word tout is becoming a little, it's becoming a title that many are trying to remove from themselves. I will tell you that most self-proclaimed handicappers are in fact touts as well. I have learned, though, that those who call themselves handicappers do tend to care at least a bit more about the process, that gets them the wins. Now, but again, most handicappers have their own struggles that do become publicly realized. A handicapper is solely looking to find the best lines, and they're doing so without all the glitz and glamour. They're not doing the chest pounding shit and the hiding their losses. A handicapper is someone who doesn't post 40 times a day. They don't cry when they lose. They've already swallowed the humbling pill of what sports betting is. They know they were going to lose on average, at minimum, 4 times out of 10. A handicapper will spend far more time on their process and how to improve it. These individuals, as mentioned, also do not gloat typically when they win. A handicapper truly knows the importance of bankroll management and how units need to remain the same throughout, or else you could win 7 games out of 10 and lose money if those 3 bets were all 3 unit plays versus 1 unit for those 7 not wins. A handicapper, for the most part, will have your best interest in mind, but there is some subjectivity there, for sure. Now, to finalize here, there are distinct differences between touts and handicappers, but what I find most common is that a handicapper is in fact a handicapper while they are winning. When they go on a losing streak, they become a tout. And I say that, what I basically mean is, it's so easy to steer the ship when the waters are calm. Okay? Anybody can. Anybody can be a handicapper when they're winning, when they're rolling off wins, when they haven't had a losing day in 7 or 8 straight days. Okay, but when that ship hits an iceberg, okay, and you lose 7, 8 games in a row, or 9 games in a row, 10 games in a row, a lot of handicappers at that point become touts. Why do they become touts? Because they start hiding from the losses. They start piling up excuses. They start, doubling up and tripling up their units to make up for those losses. And what they don't realize is that they're losing track of what made them successful. It's okay to lose in this industry. You will. Swallow that pill. You will lose in this industry. There ain't nobody giving out free money every day. I mean, if you're part of a syndicate that's fixing games, I guess you can gloat about a winning percentage, but the entire industry needs to understand that losses are coming, and they're going to come in bunches, and you need to be able to swallow that and understand that early on. And that goes for people you follow. It doesn't matter. You want to follow the hottest handicapper ever, or whatever. You're going to find that these struggles are real with everybody. When I evaluate people, touts, handicappers, and I try to see if these individuals are truly pure and good in nature, I don't care about how they do when they're winning. Everybody can handle themselves well when they're winning. Well, not everybody, because some people use that house money shit and they start betting on things they shouldn't be when they're winning anyway. But I want to know how people do when they're losing. I want to know what you're like when you lost 7 or 8 games. I want to know how you acted. I want to see what your posts were like. I want to see if you were giving excuses, if you were crying, if you were talking about how many bad breaks you got, if you were guaranteeing people the next one was going to be better. Stop. Just cut that shit out. If you're somebody who's giving out picks now, or your goal one day is to give out picks or sell picks, whatever, realize that shit is just so distasteful, and it's never going to end. You're always going to see the people that do it. But I just want to be clear. Like, I care more about how a person or individual acts while they're losing, not while they're winning. You're going to find out more about their character that way. So just keep that in mind when you are looking for your next person to follow. The losing, how they handle, is much more important than how they handle the wins. Now, to finalize one more time, so I want to be clear that there are plenty of good handicappers out there. There's even a select few who sell picks that I would even consider buying picks from. Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, I'm not lying. There are people there, in this industry that you need to be staying in contact with, people that provide very knowledgeable information. This industry is filled with a lot of talented individuals, but a lot of these same talented individuals constantly put their own foot in their mouth. Don't be following steam or the latest and greatest handicapper on social media, some guy who hasn't lost his 10-unit play since Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, the flavor of the month, all that jazz, etc. Do your own research. Get yourself to become a better sports bettor, but also know what to look for or to decide when you're going to, in fact, follow other people. There's a right way to act in this industry. There's a right way to handle yourself. There's a right way to facilitate your own processes. And there is a wrong way. That this part of this conversation is not subjective. I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop comments below. I love chatting about this, and I love informing you guys on what to look for, because look, we've all been burned in this industry at one time or another, and what you don't want to do is be making the same mistakes over and over again. So that's what I wanted this video to be. I wanted this video to help you there. Truly understand the difference between touts and handicappers. And for the most part, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there is, a few distinct ones that I would consider. But again, one day an individual could be a tout and the next day a handicapper. One day an individual could be a handicapper and the next a tout. So when people just start titling themselves one or the other, you need to be careful. Because again, for me, there's a fine line there, and it can easily be crossed one way or the other. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to drop comments below. Again, if you have any questions or if you like the video, definitely comment. I love the comments. I love chatting back and forth with you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, again, please subscribe. If you did like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And again, I like getting these videos out for you, these videos that I feel like help you become better in this industry. So there'll definitely be more of these to come. So, hope you enjoyed it. He also gave you guys a free pick for today as well. So check that out. And again, there'll be more content to come. I want to thank you guys again, and I will be back soon.